Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm doing a 2024 election prediction between Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton and Democrat New York Representative Alexandra Ocasio Cortez. So, with that said, let's get into the video. I'm going to start off by giving the safe states to AOC. I think she'll win the West Coast states of Washington, Oregon, and California safe, as well as the state of Hawaii. I think she'll win the state of Illinois, District of Columbia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine's 1st District I think will be safe. The state of New York will be safe, and I think that'll do it for AOC's safe states for now. Now, time for the states I think Tom Cotton will win safe. I think Tom Cotton will win the states of Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, both North and South Dakota, all of Nebraska, except for Nebraska's 2nd District, I will be coming back to that, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia, and the state of Alaska, bringing Tom Cotton to 125 electoral votes. So, now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to do the likely states, starting off for the likely states for AOC. I think AOC will win the state of New Mexico likely. I think she'll win the state of Colorado likely, and the state of Virginia likely. What I mean by this is I think she'll win the states, these 3 states, from somewhere between 6 to 10%. Somewhere in that range. I think it's more likely to be probably 7 to 8%, to be honest. Virginia could be 9, but I think 7 to 8% is the most likely for these 3 states. So that gets AOC up to 209. Now, the states I think Tom Cotton will win in the likely column, I think will be the state of Texas. I think he wins in the likely column. I think Tom Cotton wins the state of Iowa in the likely column, and I think he narrowly wins the state of Oklahoma in the likely column as well. I say narrowly because I think it'll literally be by the margin of about 5%. So I think it'll be very, very close to almost being in the lean column, but I think Tom Cotton will win these states in the likely column. So AOC 209, Tom Cotton 188. The remaining states I'm going to be putting in the battleground column. These are the states that I think are really going to decide this election on who will win. And it's interesting because AOC, if you follow politics, you know who AOC is. You know where she stands on a lot of issues. She's very progressive and socialist on a lot of issues. Tom Cotton is interesting because he's not really a Trump Republican, but he's not really a so-called rhino either. Tom Cotton's kind of a generic Republican when you think about it. He's kind of like the traditional what you kind of think a Republican would be in terms of policy. It's kind of what Tom Cotton is. And he doesn't really have electoral advantages too much. I mean, he's from the state of Arkansas. So maybe you could say he does better in the South, but a Republican's supposed to do good in the South anyway. So it's interesting. You have AOC, who doesn't play too well in the Rust Belt, versus Tom Cotton, who doesn't really have an electoral advantage in really too many places. However, it's still going to be very, very interesting. That means it's going to be a very, very close election. So, I think, first things first, I think AOC will win the state of Minnesota. Probably lean to likely. I'm actually going to put it in likely for now. Again, the Rust Belt thing with Tom Cotton is I don't think he'll be able to do too well in the Rust Belt. AOC I don't think would do good either, but I think she'll be able to do a little bit better. I think that Tom Cotton would narrowly win Maine's 2nd District. I think he would narrowly win this. I think AOC would win the state of Maine in the likely column. I think that AOC would also win the state of New Hampshire in the likely column, or in the lean column, excuse me. Probably by about 4%, probably about 4% or so. AOC is 225, Cotton's still at 189. I think Tom Cotton would win the state of Florida by about a 1 to 2% margin, putting it in the tilt column. I think he would win the state of Florida. I think Tom Cotton would win the state of North Carolina in the tilt column as well. That gets him to 235. And going from here, 235, 225, I think AOC wins the state of Michigan by about 3 to 4%. So I'm putting in the lean column. That gets AOC to 240. I don't think Tom Cotton would be able to have enough Rust Belt appeal to win the state of Michigan. I don't think he'd be able to. But Tom Cotton, I do think, will be able to flip back the state of Georgia. I don't think AOC will be able to win this state because a lot of her progressive socialist policies are going to turn off a lot of suburban voters in Georgia. And the fact that Tom Cotton is not as kind of abrasive and in your face in terms of speaking like Donald Trump is, I think at least some of them would vote for Tom Cotton over AOC or just not turn out to vote at all, which benefits Tom Cotton. So I think Cotton would win the state of Georgia. That gets him to 251. I do think the state of Nevada, even though I've been giving it to a lot of Republicans against AOC because of her progressive socialist policies, I do think Tom Cotton would narrowly lose the state. AOC would be able to win. There's a few Republicans I think could win the state. I don't know if Tom Cotton would be able to win it, but I think he would be able to make it close. That gets AOC up to 246. The state of Arizona, this might be a surprise. I'm actually going to have it flip back to Tom Cotton. I think Tom Cotton, being kind of that generic Republican candidate, actually helps out in the state of Arizona, where it's not Trump. So Republicans, when it's not Trump, are expected to do better in the state of Arizona. And I think enough Republicans in the suburbs might turn out for Tom Cotton against a candidate like AOC to flip it back. I think Nebraska's 2nd district will also go for Tom Cotton by about 3 to 4%. So I think he'll win there. This election will come down to the 2 states, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. And I am going to give the state of Wisconsin to Tom Cotton. Very, very close. I think Wisconsin's going to go red in 2024. I could very well see the state going red by under 1%. But nevertheless, I think Tom Cotton will win the state of Wisconsin. And now the state of Pennsylvania, where this state is going to be so, so close. Tom Cotton, I don't know if he'll be able to turn out in the rural areas as well as President Trump will. However, AOC supporting the Green New Deal, I don't think she's going to be able to get a ton of support in the suburbs and in the rural areas, especially surrounding Philadelphia suburbs. I don't think AOC will do too well in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, this state, if there's ever a tie in politics, it might be Pennsylvania. I'm going to give it to Tom Cotton, but this state very well is going to be decided by like a few thousand votes, maybe even a few hundred votes if this was a matchup. This state is so, so close. But that's going to do it for today's video. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, make sure you like the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. It means the world to me. Thank you. And yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.